let's let's segue into Jasmine Crocket, right? Because it kind of all ties together. She went on the Breakfast Club and said, "Listen, I'm rooting for Mexico and Canada because we got a Mar-a-Lago regime in the White House, girl." And so I did my little short. I'm gonna upload it on YouTube, but I already uploaded it on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, so you rooting for two countries?
Yeah, put that on here, Dana, so I can retweet
Oh,
that.
okay.
Hell yeah, we got to get that convo
Oh,
going.
okay, good. I'll do it.
Yeah, she batshit crazy.
So I said, okay, so you're rooting for two countries that flooded our border with illegals, flooded our borders with drugs, fentanyl, flooded our borders with human trafficking of babies, children, and women, you know, but you're rooting for them. And then I called her a treasonous mammy. And because how dare you, a sitting congresswoman, said you're rooting for Mexico or Canada? What? So that was that clip. And then there was another clip when she was talking about Doge, and she was saying, okay, $5,000, refund check, stimulus check. Well, what is that going to do? Now she did have a second part because people just took that clip and that went viral. But the second part to her extended context, what she said after that was, what is that going to do when you are laying off hundreds of federal workers? And what is that 5,000 going to do when it's hard for people who are unemployed to find jobs? It was still batshit crazy in the stupid comment because the federal workers that were laid off, right? They do have a severance package, and a lot of them were already making a lot of money. But that amount of that portion of people being laid off, that's a small, tiny percentage of the Americans. So do we have high unemployment? Like, is it hard for people to find jobs? She's what her talking points, she's talking about a future that hasn't happened and that may not happen. She's creating what the Democrats do, creating a false narrative of a possibility instead of focusing on reality. So I'm gonna go to Dr. Mark, Larry, and Rusty and Indy, to comment on that. Go ahead, Dr. Mark.
Yeah, well, in regards to Jasmine, again, she's playing her part, and if anybody here has heard me before, Democrats use black people in this way. She's the one that's going to try to appeal to the emotions of black women, and here she is with her sister girl act, child please, snapping her neck, having the attitude, and she's just going to say off the wall, off the chain shit for clicks, likes, and attention. But I mean, I'm just watching it play out in real time, and I don't know what these Democrats are thinking. This is a bad play. It's a bad look all around. But it doesn't stop there. If you watch CNN, MSNBC, I mean, they're just going off the rails. They're just like unhinged. It's like they're just losing it in real time and crashing out. And they're just going to continue with their narratives. They're trying to create this narrative that Elon and Trump don't get along and that there's tension there. There's clearly no tension there, but they're going to try and push it. And every little thing that is done by this administration is just going to be complained about. But fortunately, I think you know their time is coming to an end. Their funding is coming to an end, and these tactics. I think that Jasmine engages in is just a turnoff, and I think they're just going to continue to lose more and more black voters as time goes on. So I mean, I welcome it. I welcome the crash out in real time. I think it's silly to root for any other country, root for anybody outside of the U.S. Standing up to us. I think that's silly, but hey, here we are. It's Trump derangement syndrome, stage 4, probably incurable, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
Doc, it's so good to see it. It's the epitome of Schadenfreude. You know
Yeah,
Schadenfreude when you relish in your enemies and the people that have destroyed this country, and you
yeah.
see them squirming.
Oh
It's
yeah.
delicious to watch. It's like a dessert.
Adam
It's great.
Adam Schiff is shitting his pants. Liz Cheney. They listen. They're gonna have to confess their sins, and they can't lie about it. I mean, it's gonna be a fun year. Just buckle
Okay,
up. I
so
mean,
and real quick before I go to Larry, when is Miss Bondi Honey dropping that Epstein list and the Diddy list?
she said she got it on her desk. That the MLK list. She got it. I mean, the MLK files, JFK files, Epstein files. We'll see. I heard, maybe within 2 weeks, March 3rd, but we'll see. But I'm not getting my hopes up. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't know what's on that. And it's not a list. It's just names, sealed in the case and so forth. But um, I don't want to get my hopes up. But boy, I mean, if it turns out to be a big deal, that's going to be epic. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw today too with the Diddy list. One of Diddy's attorneys uh, applied to be removed from the case today, specifically in regards to confidential information. He doesn't feel he'd be able to defend him from Mark Agnefello. Um, that list is going to be incredible because it's going to implicate some of the top people that are in the entertainment industry and other industries as well. And the Diddy and Epstein lists are intimately entwined because this is a Mossad operation. This is part and parcel for what the Mossad and the Israelis do, which is sexual blackmail. That's why the videotapes are there and the audio is there. So that case is coming up on May 5th, and I'm following it very closely. It's going to be very, very interesting. Like you said, Doc, it's going to be a great year. It's great to see all these people get their comeuppance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I want to go to Larry.
All right, I got a couple things I kind of want to speak on. Touching on the last subject, I don't think anyone should get too excited because there's still going to be names redacted. And before anyone goes, oh, they still got names redacted, victims have to be redacted. So when you see a redacted name, it doesn't mean that that person was on Epstein's plane. It doesn't mean that that person was doing something wrong. It means it could have been a victim. And I'm for redacting victims' names. Now, there's a couple things I want to touch on. Something hit the news that I don't think anyone was paying attention to because I mentioned I was on Social Security. And someone else said, oh, I want to do what you do. I'm on Social Security. I make no money. I used to make a lot of money. I don't anymore. But so something on the news. So you understand, I hope everyone understands why there's people 150 to 350 years old on Social Security. What happened was the Biden administration, and I don't want to put any names out there, they went and they were putting illegal immigrants on Social Security. This can be done because of the old way our Social Security system still works to this day. There was a time when someone was born on a barn or in a farm or whatever, out in the middle of nowhere. They had no birth certificate, no Social Security card, but they still needed a way to attach them to the Social Security payroll system. So wherever there was no information, they left that blank. And that leaving that blank, the system automatically generates that information. And so all that information is so when you're looking at all those Social Security numbers that or those numbers that don't make any sense, that's just illegal immigrants added to the Social Security payroll. Second, the thing I wanted to touch on is someone said kick it back to the states, and I agree. We need to kick education back to the states, but I think we should privatize education and not make it. What happened was my town would be able to start up their own school and the federal government would give them some money. Each parent got some money. And this is the way I think it should work is we spend about $17,000 per kid in the United States. It's a little over. It's like 17,600. I don't remember the exact number. I know it's over 17,000. I think that parents should get a coupon for 17,000 where I can then walk around to the school and say, what are you offering to teach my child? Are you willing to teach? Maybe I want my child DEI programmed. Are you teaching your child DE? Are you teaching DEI? No. Well, then I'm going to go look for a DEI school. Are you not teaching DEI? No. Well, then I want my child to go there. I can pick and choose the education system I want. What are you doing? So I get a coupon for 17,000. I give that to the school. The school goes out and hires the best teachers, the best principals, everything, because they want to earn my $17,000. Not a matter of we just hire whoever we can to fill a role, even if they're barely qualified. And once they've been there for 10 years, we can't even fire them if they're the worst teacher on the planet. Another thing is, I understand that there's a lot of things coming around with reparations and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of history and stuff like that. The slaves were given reparations or the option of reparations. And the problem I have with reparations is the fact that my family fought to free slaves. My family fought against all of that. And now my tax dollars have to go pay for someone to get reparations because I didn't do anything, because I didn't personally go out and fight against slavery. That makes no sense to me. And the whole concept, we got way off topic here. The whole concept we were supposed to be talking about, which was DOGE. And I believe DOGE is doing an excellent job, but I think it's going to take, I know Trump gave Elon 2 years. I'm hoping that that's not a set in stone number. I'm hoping that Elon, because I mean, with all the court fights and everything like that, they know that Trump said 2 years, and they're hoping that they can drag this through court for 2 years. And in 2 years, Elon's gone, no more DOGE. That's the end of it. And I'm hoping that Trump is aware of the fact that they're going to be doing this. And the Social Security thing, I'm hoping people are aware of it. They look it up and they put out that information about how these illegal immigrants got on Social Security. We no longer need that backdoor system to where you can add someone born on a farm that didn't get a birth certificate or a Social Security card, because the states can still give birth certificates now to people born at home. The states can still, the federal government can still issue a Social Security card to someone born at home. So we don't need that backdoor anymore that was abused during the Biden administration. That backdoor needs to be shut, closed, tight, never to be opened again. Because you shouldn't be able to allow someone to be able to be put on Social Security that doesn't have a Social Security card or birth certificate or state they were born in. That information should be vital to receiving Social Security.
Larry,
And so,
1 second. I just want
go
to
ahead.
address. I just want to address some points that you made, because you made a lot of points. The reparations argument, it was incorrect what you said. I mean, the reparations argument, as far as I understand it, is that there's a debt that is owed, and if a debt is owed, it should be paid. I challenge a lot of people that I talk to regularly, like, well, if a debt is owed and people and it's valid, shouldn't it be paid? And they hem and haw. I don't hear them addressing the direct argument. They divert into other excuses as to why it is that I support reparations, when I didn't even say I support it. I just asked them quite simply, if a debt is owed, should the debt be paid? And they can't answer that straight on. And so that's the first point. The second point, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. I'm happy you're getting your Social Security, but at the end of the day, it needs to be sunsetted, because it's unsustainable and it is literally a Ponzi scheme. The people that are currently working are paying the people that are collecting Social Security right now. It is unsustainable. The people should keep their own money. They should be able to invest it. And in fact, if you were to invest the money that you got in Social Security rather than giving it to the government to hold for you, you would have compounded at 5% a year. You'd have over $1.4 million rather than getting a check for at maximum $5,000 or $4,500, which I think is the max out for Social Security right now. So
I get
that is the point.
1,200.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
let me try and explain. Let me try and explain my Social Security. Like, I have a congestive heart failure. No, I was not on drugs. Yes, I got the COVID shot. Yes, I had a heart attack afterwards. My wife's sitting right here next to me listening to the conversation. She'll tell you I did. And I fell off a 2-story roof. I ended up with a back injury after I had the back injury and stuff like that. I paid into Social Security. Social Security, people see Social Security in this is my retirement. They also don't see it in the fact of if you get injured at work, it's also your insurance. Social Security was brought around as an insurance. I fell off of a 2-story roof and landed on a pile of rebar. I can barely walk and move. I have so many doctors that tell me I'm not even allowed to pick up more than a gallon of milk. I'm not allowed to stand for longer than 15 minutes. Sitting down for long periods of time also hurts. Okay, so there are valid claims out there for Social Security. I'm not saying every one of them is valid. I have watched people who I know that should not be on it. But I am not saying that every Social Security claim out there is valid. It's a insurance you pay in. Like God forbid, buddy, that you get into a car accident tomorrow and you are paralyzed from the neck down, and you can never work again. And I understand you're like, oh, Social Security, blah, 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 and you never are allowed to work again the rest of your life. You paid into Social Security, right? You paid
Larry,
into that insurance. And
Larry, if that
because you
happened to
paid
me,
into
I would
that
take a bag of
insurance,
fentanyl to the face and I would go into the next one. I wouldn't want to live as
no.
a paraplegic, my
I
friend.
have 3 kids. I will never in my life for my like my kids is no. You don't end your life if you
So
have
I see where
children
Larry's.
counting on you.
I see where Larry's coming from. But Social Security, listen, you when you reach a certain age, that's when people start paying attention. Social Security, when I worked, okay, I know money was coming out going to Social Security, right? It's like money come out, go to your taxes. And then I hear older people, 65 and up, they always complaining about Social Security. But when you're younger, you really don't care. But I think I need to start paying attention because when I start saying, well, how much do you get a month from Social Security? All those many years, every 2 weeks or every week, coming money taken out your paycheck, going to Social Security for 20 plus years of you working, and by the time you retire, your monthly check is not even $1,000. That's a ripoff.
Dana,
And
they're robbing you with it. It's a straight robbery. They're not giving you back what you paid in. If you paid it in simple 5%, if you put it in a money market account, that same amount of money being taken out every 2 weeks, if you do work as a W-2 employee, you would see it would be magnitudes greater. It's ridiculous.
right, so I
I'm
agree.
saying,
So what
yeah.
I'm saying is, I agree with both of you because Social Security is vital, but at the same time, it does. I think it is like a ripoff, and I think that's a good that's a good suggestion to if our Social Security was invested, at whatever dividend or whatever. But I want to get to Rusty, and
Dana,
then
one more point.
go ahead.
Look at it like this, right? The Social Security that you're paying in, you're never going to get back what you're supposed to get back because the government is doing it for you. It's not sustainable. Number one. Number two, they're printing more money. They're creating money out of whole cloth. The Federal Reserve. We are all debt slaves. You want to talk about slavery? We're debt slaves up to right now, this very minute. You need to end the Federal Reserve. You need money that's backed by something they can't print willy-nilly. So even if you take out and have the Social Security, what does it matter? Because it doesn't keep pace with inflation. Inflation is caused very simply by printing money when there's nothing behind it. So if they give out the 5,000, but they've also cut a consummate amount from the tax rosters or from the money printing, then it would be a wash. There'll be no negligible increase, and you wouldn't have any inflation created. However, if they make and print and create debt to pay out the 5,000, then yeah, it's not really 5,000. Do you know that every 10 years you lose 30% value in your money? So if you take your money and just keep it in cash, let's say under a mattress or in a safe or in something that doesn't hold its value, you're losing 30% every 10 years. So you're never going to be able to catch up. And they know this. They do this. That's why they create money laundering operations and NGOs to send the money to Israel and act like they need to have it there to then make the weapons contracts come back to the United States, and they grift off of everyone. And this is why you need to end and limit government as much as possible. These people aren't out for you. These cocksuckers are out for themselves. They're as thick as thieves.
Preach,
Keep more of your own money. That's how you help the American people. Let them keep more of their own money.
preach. And can I just add that federal taxes are a scheme as well. Again, I voted for Trump because I believe in his plan. The federal government can make money, fund its own government, fund the government based on uh, energy production and money gained from that, transportation, as well as other means. But they do not need our hardworking money. That is so asinine, just to pay taxes and Social Security. To Peter's point, it's a Ponzi scheme. You could take that, put it in the market, put it in a 401k, do that on your own, and you would be way better off for sure, hands down. But you know what? Trump's in charge. He's doing his job. He's getting rid of these bloated agencies. And what was big today was these administrative law justices. The DOJ said they're not protecting them. So if they want to act a fool and they want to try and hinder the president's agenda, that game is not going to work around in Trump 2.0. He's hip to the game. He's coming out guns blazing. I'm looking forward to it. And I really think I'm gonna call it now. I really think by the end of 4 years, he's gonna announce that hey, there's no more federal taxes. That's where we're headed.
Mark, I hope they hit those judges with conspiracy and they put them in the penitentiary. That's what
Oh,
I
it's
want to see.
coming. It's coming. We
Well,
got
I
Cash
want to go
Patel
to
too, so it's coming.
Rusty, then Nancy. Go ahead, Rusty, then Nancy. Because I'm going to the hands. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if I could live to be 150, probably 200 years old, and I'd still never get all the Social Security that I paid back, that I paid in. And if you're right, if Social Security wasn't just some another way to rip us off, I mean, they've got illegals that are drawing our Social Security, right? And if this was a real legit program, then when I retire, I'm drawing all my money. You don't dole it out to me, you know, like I'm a freaking child. It's my money. We're the government, and we're allowing them just to give us a pittance. You know what I'm saying? And they hope that we die where we don't even draw half of it. And you know what? You give me all of my money that I paid in, and you can keep the interest, government. But no, no, you can't even do that. Yeah, that's definitely some kind of Ponzi scheme right there. That is disgusting. And I'll tell you another thing that really ticks me off is property taxes. If I buy my house, and I think about these elderly people. I mean, where I live, property taxes are running $2,000 to $3,000. Well, if you're living off of Social Security, that's 2 or 3 months. You know what I'm saying? That you've got to put back just to be able to keep your house. I mean, I realize that's a state's issue, but that is so unconstitutional. You never own anything. And that just, I mean, crap, you can't even buy a pack of gum without paying tax. I mean, nothing. They get money from you every which way but loose. And my last thing I'll say is I hear all these people giving these sad sack stories about these government employees that have lost their jobs and been fired. And my first response is, why didn't you take, what was it, 6 months severance? They gave them all the option. Well, you
Eight
should have
months.
took it. Say that again.
8 months they gave them. They're giving them
Eight,
8 months.
okay, 8 months. You should have took it. You trying to be a smart ass, a wise ass. You know what I'm saying? You didn't take it. Now you're stuck without it. I got no sympathy for you. I got no sympathy. And if you did take it, hang on, because Trump's going to bring manufacturing back. We're going to have a boom, you know. And if Democrats would help, you know what I'm saying, would sit back and help. That's the other thing. I'm just sick and tired. And it's not just Democrats, it's rhinos too. I mean, let's just be honest. It's all these people that's on the take. If they would actually straighten up, you know what I'm saying, and listen and say, you know what? you're right. Let me start digging around my area. Where can we cut some waste here? It's almost like they don't care because they've already got their millions. They can fly over to whatever they've bought over in Ukraine or wherever they're planning on going, and we're just sitting here stuck trying to pick up the aftermath once the dollar falls. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's crazy when you really think about it. I mean, we are literally taxed from cradle to grave. You can't, you know, and then just to see all these illegals coming in, and they didn't even have to have a job. They were being taken care of. I saw there was a lady in Maine. She had a 1 bedroom, a nice apartment, nice upscale apartment, paid for. They pay for her utilities, pay for her groceries. She's not, doesn't. So these people got a free freaking vacation, on our tax dollar, on our tax dime. And that's what the politicians think about it. And I don't let the Republicans off the hook either, because these charlatans, they voted for every one of these omnibus bills that had all of this crap packed in it, and then left the taxpayer the bill. And they're also, like you said, making millions off of whatever side gig that they got, in the stock market. It's just, they disgust me. All of them are disgusting. And it's a good thing Trump got in when he did, because I'm telling you, people are waking up and they were going to revolt. I'm serious. Thank you.
Rusty, think about this, Rusty, right? Just really quickly before we go back to the hands. The COVID bioweapon, okay, because that was a bioweapon they released. What does that do, right? It suppresses a cancer suppressing gene called P53 that naturally suppresses cancers from growing in the body. It also causes myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle. What you're going to do and what the government has done is now shaved years off of people that have paid into those Social Security rosters and will never collect the money. So now think about how much money the feds have now stolen by shaving years off of your life and telling you to get a vaccine or you shouldn't be able to participate in society. You now you see the sinister aspect of the people that we're up against. This is an enemy that will lie in wait forever and that will literally steal your life from you. And that is why it's so important that we get together and recognize these things. And that is why I hope, Indy, you have a bunch of firearms, and I hope you get with seasoned operators so you could train in CQC off the hip, and that you can be nice being able to put shots on target very quickly, because no one's coming to save you and no one's coming to save me. We have to save ourselves. And this is the type of sinister aspect that we're up against. People that will release a bioweapon against their own people.
Who was it? Nancy. Then I'm gonna go to Carrie, Dr. Mark. Indy, I don't know if you want to say anything. I'll come to you if you have your hand up. And then Dr. Mark, Larry, and then we'll just close out. Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, one thing I wanted to mention is that it's bigger than us, guys. I mean, I think our country would actually fallen if Trump wouldn't have gotten in office. It still may, because they've been allowed to do this for decades, and we haven't stopped them. I mean, you need to look and see what's going on in Great Britain now. If you don't know, please go look. What's going on in Germany? What's going on in France? That's going on here too. It's just not quite as far along. And they're trying to bring us down, bring our country down. That's why they've been doing all this stuff about allowing our borders to be overrun. The COVID thing, they're killing us off and trying to bring us under world government. That's what's going on. That is what's going on. I promise you. So, all the time before this, how they say, oh, we try to keep it. It's like this amount of growth. We only want to grow by no, this amount of inflation, like 3% inflation. Why is there any inflation, right? We shouldn't want any inflation. What they do is that's how they plan to pay off the debt, right? To grow us out of the debt. So basically they're saying they're going to inflate it away, reduce the value, the buying power of our dollar, and that's how they pay it off when the dollars aren't worth as much. So they're stealing from us. And we bought this crap. And we've bought this crap. And I just want to say that when they tell you leading economists agree, there's all these other different schools of economics. And the ones our government's been following is something called Keynesian economics, Keynesin, named after Lord Maynard Keynes, big socialist. That's where the booms and the busts come from. That's where all this pretty money out of thin air comes from. That's one school of economics. It's not a good one, but that's what they've been following. So just because they say leading economists say, don't believe that bull crap. That means the ones that they're following. And it's a failed school of economics. And I just hope, if we want to get rid of the IRS, we can't have a welfare state. We can't. We can't have open borders in a welfare state. And before I forget, I want to say, if we're going to do the $5,000, we got to make sure it's not going to foreign nationals in this country, because there's some that they come. Well, they're really not illegal. No, they can't. They have to be U.S. citizens, and we have got to, if we want to save, because our dollar could still fail, guys. That's why we have got to get down the debt. The deficit is how much we're spending, overspending every year, and the debt is the accumulation, right? Because we've got even a whole lot, like $150 billion or $1 trillion of unfunded liabilities. So they're not even counting all the stuff. We're in deep doo doo. I mean, we really are. And if we want to have any hope, we have got to quit subsidizing all this stuff. And I would really have more hope if Trump would get us out of uh, NATO, out of you're going to freak out when I say this, but I firmly believe it, out of the United Nations, the World Bank, the World Court, the International Monetary Fund, the Bank of International Settlements, get rid of the NGOs. And that would mean that we had national sovereignty. That would mean we have national sovereignty. You wouldn't believe how much, because we fund most everything, that we would have a real chance. So anyway, I just want to say that. Thanks for listening.
All right. Carrie.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Good.
I
How are
was
you?
good. Hey, I was just gonna say about the federal employees that are upset about everything. Oh man, they can kiss my butt. I mean, they get so many good benefits, and people that have been laid off in Texas, in the oil field business. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I'm so sick of these federal employees, yeah, 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 just complaining, wah, 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 big deal. I'm so sick of it when they've been working at home, probably have another job too, who knows? But, and the illegals, boy, they are getting everything. It's sickening. And we should have voted for that one. I mean, I can't believe all the tax paying money, payers' money, uh, shoot, that, that we have given them. They were living better than we were at times. I mean, it's crazy. And this world government, I think if we were still under Biden, of course, that's what he wanted. But I don't think Trump will let that happen. But it would have happened if it was under Biden. That's all I have to say. Happy Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Everybody's ready for the weekend.
Yeah.
Who was
Thank you, Dana.
um I guess Dr. Mark. Indy, I don't know if you want to, well, you could, I'm about to close out anyway. So I'll go to Dr. Mark, and Indy, I'll go to you if you want to have any last remarks. Go ahead, Dr. Mark.
Larry has his hand up too.
Oh, he does. Okay, and I'll go to Larry as well. Go ahead, Dr. Mark.
All right. So look, it's absolutely true. There is a deep state. The media lies because the media is controlled by the deep state or administrative state. And yes, somebody alluded to it earlier. It was both Republicans and Democrats involved because they benefited from this personally. And what we were witness to during these past years was a managed decline of this country because, yes, there is a globalist agenda. All right. But the good news is that Trump got elected, he broke the matrix, and he really fucked their plans up. I mean, he broke their hearts at that World Economic Forum. and they are panicked and they are scared. They know their plans aren't going through. And yes, we are the richest nation, and we really don't need anybody else. And they know that. That's why these reciprocal tariffs are a good thing. Even today, I think I read something there. Tim Cook is talking about manufacturing Apple back here in the States. This is a good thing. And so, what you're going to have happen is this: America is back. It's America first. Um, we're finding out the waste and fraud, and Medicare is coming. You know, Medicaid fraud is also coming. That the days of California, New York, and all these liberal states just using your tax dollars, and I'm saying this as a doctor, using your tax dollars, and even here in Georgia, but using your tax dollars for emergency Medicaid or Medicaid to cover illegals having a baby here or having surgery here or whatever have you. Those days are over. And this is going to lead to positive change. I know this country would have been over had Biden got reelected, and they sure did try to steal it. They stole it in 2020 as well, but they did try again, but they couldn't. It was too big to rig. The good news is, you know, we became wiser. We know better, and we just got to stay informed and stay connected and keep informing others who are still blue pilled. But America, I believe, is really going to see a golden age. Is going to be good for every citizen, black, white, Asian, Latino, you name it. We are in a golden age. It's about to happen. But if Trump wasn't elected, yes, this country would have been over. And I'll end on that. Dana, sorry for talking out of turn. I just got a little turned up tonight. That's all.
No, it's no problem.
All right.
I think when we got on the Jasmine Crocket subject, we wasn't even talking about her. But you know what? It's not even about her. It's about who she represents, the Democrat Party, and she is their token person. She's their golden child, their front runner. I guess they're maybe preparing her or grooming her to probably one day be the leader of the Democrat Party because she's out on her media run, and she does this media run like every 2 weeks. However, the problem that the Democrats are having, and
Mm-hmm.
when I realized they do not take accountability at all. And first of all, I don't trust no politician, so I'm not getting on the Democrats as if the Republicans are so wonderful. All politicians lie, but they are not taking accountability because they don't understand. You could come and you could say, oh, what are you going to do with the 5,000 federal workers are being laid off? He's breaking the law. You have 19 state attorney generals, right? They filed a lawsuit to stop Elon Musk and DOGE from as having access to the treasury, right? Well, why not? Well, let him pull the curtains back and see what he could find to make sure that is no money mismanagement, or if it is. So the lack of accountability from the Democrats, that they don't understand, they lost the House, the Senate, and the White House because of the illegal migrants that they allowed to come into this country. You allowed the illegals to come into this country, and on top of that, you invested close to $1 trillion, almost $1 trillion, into illegals, and we paid for it. So the $5,000, that's just a start. How about 5,000 annually for the next 4 years? How about you get rid of federal taxes? But the Democrats do not take accountability for their F ups, and their F up was open border. That's why they lost, and they're going to continue they're going to continue to lose until they just start taking responsibility and admit that we messed up, we were wrong. So and start listening to your constituents and the American people, all American people, and get off this Trump is a racist, because that narrative is so old. Um,
And Dana, they're not going to. If you've watched everything they've done nothing but double down that this is a racist, misogynistic country, and they've
Mm-hmm.
doubled down. They've doubled down on the Rainbow Coalition, to take a phrase from Judge Joe. I love it. The Rainbow Coalition. That's what they always talk about. Oh, we have to be for the LGBTQ, and they have the right to be in the bathroom with your kids. Fuck that shit. And I'm sorry for saying that F word. I just get very upset
Yeah,
when
I
I
mean
think
it's,
about that. It's crazy.
and which is why they're going to continue to lose. So what they want to do is use the law any way they can with the lawsuits and this and that, and create a narrative. Do something sneaky, cheat, steal, to try to get back in power. But I think what's going to stop them forever getting back in power, well, for at least for a minute, is us,
Uh-huh.
opening up our eyes to their BS. So I want to go to Larry and Indy, and then we'll close out. Go ahead, Larry. You want to say something?
I'm sorry to say, but the American people are stupid. Trump can't stop the NWO. He can try. He can pull us out temporarily with executive orders. As soon as he's no longer in power, it can be reversed. We're 7 votes short from stopping the NWO and all forms of the NWO, not just any form of it, just all forms. New World Order. We are literally 7 votes short of it. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to remove us from NATO. It takes 60 votes from them to remove it. Like Trump can temporarily remove us from who? He did. But the problem is it can be reversed with the next president. It takes 60 votes in the Senate to make it permanent. He can't just red pin it and it's permanent. Second, I understand what everyone's saying about Social Security, and I understand there needs to be massive reforms. And the problem is the reason why Social Security is like they decide if I'm going to get a Social Security increase in the months of July, August, and September. And the reason why is because those are traveling seasons. They base it on how many people buy an RV, how many people buy a car, and how many people that doesn't, it's not based on groceries. It's not based on how much my rent went up or my mortgage payment. It's not based on logic. It's based on stupid. Uh, uh, it depends on how many rich people spend money. That's why we will never receive the amount of money we've paid in. I've paid into Social Security. I'm receiving it now because I'm disabled. But the problem isn't so much like I understand the argument. I understand both sides. I was totally against it until I became disabled, and then I went, "Well, shit, glad it's here."
But Larry,
And excuse my language. My wife just yelled at me.
but
And the problem is that when it comes to the New World Order and all this stuff going on, until we can Americans are stupid. They become complacent in 2 years. I kid you not, in 2 years. Mark my words, we will lose the House. If not, we will lose more control in the Senate because Americans become complacent in 2 years. No one's going to go out and vote because it's not a president we're voting on. We're not voting on who's the commander in chief. We're voting on House, Senate, our who's our mayor is, who's going to be in control of our schools. Those are the important ones that no one cares about. No one cares about who's on their school board until suddenly they're hit in the face with DEI. No one cares. Then suddenly when DEI is being pushed on your kids, you're like, oh, how did this happen? Because you didn't fucking vote a year and a half ago because you only cared about, excuse my language again, you only cared about the fact that Joe Biden should have been elected or Donald Trump was elected. Our local elections count more for the stuff that happens that will affect you more than anything else. Anything. Donald Trump can do stuff that'll affect you microscopically. Microscopically. You look at the things he's doing, microscopically, it's going to affect us. Like even Trump's thing with the whole gender thing, it'd go all the way up to the Supreme Court and they'd be like, well, maybe it is considered discrimination. Then we're back with DEI in our school. Why didn't we vote to stop it in our school districts? Why didn't we stop it dead in our school districts before I had a chance?
because people
Because
were
we're
asleep.
stupid and we're complacent.
Larry,
We're stupid and we become complacent.
Larry, people were asleep
I'm
at the
done.
people who were asleep at the wheel, and they've waken up. They've woken up now. And then you also have Elon Musk that's behind a lot of these things. I think you're going to see a lot more people get politically involved, and you're going to see investigations. You're going to see investigations into a lot of these people that are behind this. And that is the answer. The answer is to use and take a page out of the intelligence agency's books and to record these people while they're involved in malfeasance and to take a look at the skeletons in their closet and then put them in prison. Prison is the
Well,
answer.
explain to me how you can make $250,000 a year. No offense, like Joe Biden served. I don't care if you love him or not. He served the American people for 50 years at less than 250,000, but we can round it out to 250,000. Why the fuck is he worth almost 400 some million dollars?
Because they're
And
all
that's
crooks.
the money we fucking know about.
Yeah, but
What
they're all
about the
crooks. But
gold bars, the
I
offshore
mean,
accounts?
everyone lay off the F word. But politicians are crooks, and Harry Truman, President Truman, is a famous quote saying, "Any politician that leaves office wealthy or rich was a crook." Around those words. So, yeah, they are
We
crooks.
used to. I'm not calling for violence. I'm 100% not calling for violence. But there was a time, I kid you not, where if we found a corrupt politician, they were tarred and feathered
Tarred
and
and feathered.
hung in the
Yep.
street.
Yep.
Hung in the street.
Well, I don't
Hung in the
know. That
street.
must have been a very long time, some centuries ago.
Now,
Yeah, Dana, that was a
now,
colonial era. They would literally dip them in tar and then put them in feathers. Think about hot
No.
tar on
and
your
But I'm
hang
pretty
them,
body.
sure the people that did that,
and
they were
hang
probably
them.
corrupt themselves. So I don't know. But all right, let me
No,
go
the
to
people, the mob used to do it. The mob of people
the
would
mob.
go and grab them.
So I want to go to Indy. Did you want to say something? I was coming to you because we're about to close out. I'm gonna close out.
Yeah, I was I was just gonna say that it's only been about what 40 days or so, 30 something, 40 days. So I'm just gonna sit back and watch federal protections be lessened, weakened, and just observe and see where things fall, because I do believe that America's chickens will come home to roost again.
Okay.
And that's all I want to say.
Oh, Harry Truman quote was, "Show me a man that gets rich by being a politician, and I'll show you a crook." And I believe it.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.